Hello and welcome to the Knatters Knits podcast. My name is Natalie. I'm also known as Knatters Knits on Ravelry, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, you name it. I'm down there as Knatters Knits, and that's Knatters and knits the usual way. Well, thank you very much for those of you who've come back. I'm sorry it's been a long break. But obviously for those of you who have just found me for the first time, you won't realise there's been a break because you're just here for the first time. My name is Natalie, as I said. I am a knitter and spinner and I live in North Lancashire in the United Kingdom. I am sitting here on a gorgeous, gorgeous March day. It's, as you can tell, sunny outside, but you may find that the lighting changes. And what can I say? It's been a long time and I've missed you guys, I really have, and you have been on my mind a lot. I keep meaning to podcast and I've only just got around to it. It's a really bad admission and I'm sorry. Today is brought to you by a cup of tea in the sheepy mug. And from what I can see on the table here, so much. So what's been happening? Well, where do I start? 3 months. It's been a long time. First of all, the love of my life, my grandson George. He is now 8.5 months old, such a character, and to be honest, I absolutely adore him. I don't know where to start. I'm besotted with the child. I really, really am. I saw him over Christmas and then I'm going to be seeing him again at Easter, but I haven't missed probably more than a day or two of not seeing him because my wonderful daughter Rachel has been quite good at making sure that I'm glued to WhatsApp with loads of pictures when he's at home, because he doesn't always stay at home. He stays with his other grandma and granddad when his mum's working. So I've said goodnight to him, we've chatted, we've had sort of like FaceTime, whatever the WhatsApp equivalent of that is, I can't remember. You can tell what a technophobe I'm becoming in my old age. Yeah, I'm really enjoying being a grandma. There's something special about it. So that's George. The second thing is that for those of you that remember that my Auntie Marion was quite ill in Australia, sadly I have to report that she passed away a little while ago now. My condolences to the whole of the Harris and the Crow family. I'm so sorry that she passed. I do miss her. I miss her terribly. But not as much as they do, I know, because they're in the same country and they're used to having her on a daily basis, whereas, you know, I just had the internet to keep me going with her Auntie. I apologise in advance if you can hear the trains going past. It's Saturday morning, what can I say? It gets busy some days and other days it doesn't. That was a passenger train going past. It's quite a nice day out there. I can actually see Beacon Fell, which is a local hill. What happens usually is when the weather gets really bad and it comes in, the hill disappears, and that's how I know we're going to have a grotty day. But at the moment it's sunny out there and I can actually see it. The spring buds are up. There's still a bit of sign of winter, but just look out in my garden, it is looking rather nice. So my final bit of news, I suppose, is why I'm suddenly podcasting again. Well, sorry guys, but you're going to have to get used to seeing me on a more regular basis. For some of you I know that'll be a good thing, some of you not so much. The sad thing is I actually lost my job last week. I was made redundant, and as you probably know, I was working a lot of hours, but I was absolutely loving my job. But unfortunately it's the way things go, and now I haven't got a job anymore. So just for now, rather than jumping in the deep end, I've decided to take a bit of time off and see what happens. I've got my NHS pension, so I'm not going to be completely destitute, and of course I've got Phil, who's the main breadwinner in our family anyway. So we'll see what we see. Which leads me on to what I've been doing with my time. Yeah, you guessed it, knitting. So the way I'd like to talk about this is I've got some finished objects to show you. Some I can't, but I'll put photographs in at the end. Then I've got, sorry, I'm just looking at my notes over here. Then I've got some works in progress. I've got a few of those. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what I've been designing. Some spinning, which I haven't got, so I'll have to get at some point in time during this break. Little announcement about when I'm going to be at the next show, and I've got a giveaway and some news about my Etsy shop. So let's get started with the things that I've finished, and the first one is a pair of ankle socks. I don't tend to make long socks, I do like ankle socks. For those of you that remember seeing me, I hope I told you, I'm pretty sure I did, that I got an advent calendar. In fact, I got 2 advent calendars, but I got one advent calendar which was lots and lots of mini skeins about this big, and I made some socks. As you can see, these aren't in the best condition now because they have been washed a couple of times because it's been a while, and they are very unmatching, which does not do my OCD any good at all, and I'm trying to make sure that I wear them on a regular basis because, well, it does me good to break out of old habits. These mini skeins are roughly taking up about half a sock each, so I think this is about 1.5 skeins of the wool. Can I say I'm enjoying them? Not so much, partly because of my OCD, partly because I don't like wearing mismatching colours, and I did try to sort of coordinate them a bit, and I think probably you wouldn't notice so much if you just saw the top of the socks, but that bit at the bottom really is different, and as you can see they're quite lacking in memory, all very flappy and wishy-washy already. So I'm not so happy with those, and I'm now thinking about other things that I can make with those mini skeins. Talking of mini skeins, I made a prototype for a bag, and the idea was that I would actually make a really large mitered square. Which was fine. But of course I'm using a yarn that is this one. It's Starcraft, 75% superwash wool, 25% nylon. There's 437 yards in the skein, which is quite generous. It's called Head Over Heels, and this is the colourway I've been using. Second train. I wonder how many more we can get in the programme. I quite like the colours, they're very bright, very me. However, I decided to make a rather large mitered square. Now you'll see how big it is if I put the little bag that was a prototype next to it. In fact, the blues are standing out a lot more on there than they actually do in real life. That's the back, and that's the front. Now if I hold it at that angle you can actually see the colours a bit more. I've been using I Hire sharps. Not good. I don't know if you can see the dot on that finger, but ouch. This is the last project I'll be making with these needles, I suspect. I do not like them. They have injured my finger and it is pretty sore now. That's number 3. Okay, we're doing well. But as a square, it looks okay. What I've done now is I've just picked up the stitches along the top here, and I'm starting a new one, which is going to go up like that. I'm not sure whether I'm going to make the bag now, partly because the design didn't get accepted, but partly because I've had another idea. And you'll have to wait and watch this space to see what I'm doing. So that's one work in progress. Another one is a jumper I've made for George. Now obviously he's got that and he's wearing it because unfortunately babies have a habit of growing. So the pattern I used was this one, Snuggly Baby Crofter DK. It's pattern number 1926. And that's it there, and that's the jumper. Now I love this one because of the neck here. This neck's good because when Anybody who knows who's ever had a wriggling baby will know trying to get a jumper over the head, they really don't like it, and I don't like making babies scream. And this one pulls over really, really nicely, and I'm told by my daughter that George really loves this jumper because he can snuggle up on the neck. And it is quite loose fitting, which I think is quite useful for boys, because they do like to get in and all over the place. And for me, loose fitting means an extra layer of air, much more comfortable really. So I made that in this green colour, and it's Cascade 220. I can't remember the colourway, but actually that's pretty true to colour on the screen. The reason I've got this ball here is because babies grow, so I'll get onto it in works in progress in a minute. The next thing I'd like to show you is my shawl. I'm rather proud of this, as anybody who's met me knows, because not only did I knit the shawl, did I design the shawl, or rather it's not really a design, but I made it up as I went along, but I also spun the yarn. Now the yarn is 50% merino and 50% silk, and it's from an Australian dyer. If you remember, I found the dyer called Skein when I was over there because I couldn't find any yarn shops in Australia to sell me yarn. So Skein was the one that I chose, and this is my shawl. And as you can see, that's my wingspan, and it's huge, and it's getting bigger by the day. I love it because it's so drapey. This is actually 3 skeins, but I love, love, love the colours. Yes, I do wear it like this, particularly if I'm feeling chilly and I'm going out, because it goes out on beautifully underneath a coat, but it doesn't do a lot for the old. So what I tend to do when I'm in the house is to wear it the other way around. And I absolutely adore it. It goes with this top quite nicely, I think. The colours are lovely, it's soft, it's drapey, it's beautiful next to skin, and even, I don't know if you can see, there's a slight halo on it there. It's fine, it doesn't itch. That's mainly because of the 50% silk content, but it is oh so gorgeous. I absolutely adore it. I could wear it like this as a shrug, but actually there's enough to tie around my middle again afterwards, and I don't think that's a particularly good look. So I just tend to wear it like this, and I'm so pleased with it. So that's that one. Next thing. I have been participating in something called Winter Camp, which has been run by the Canadian Knitter podcast. A lady called Sarah, who is the Canadian Knitter, and she does the podcast. One of the things that she does every winter is something called Winter Camp. And you sign up to be in a cabin and you knit along with other knitters. You get points for different things that you make. There are different themes, different designers. And if you use the colour for that month, the designer for that month and the item for that month, you can get more bonus points. So I've slackened off a little bit with what I've been doing because of my redundancy, which made me a bit miserable, to be honest. But I have been making these. Now originally I was going to put them on the edge of that project I just showed you, but they don't quite go. As you can see, these colours, although they're gorgeous mini skeins, they don't go. So I've decided I'm just going to keep knitting them every time I have 5 minutes. I'm going to knit these, and I'm going to make a blanket out of them. Who for, I don't know. It may be that my older daughter Kirsten gets them because she hasn't had a look in on finished objects just recently. I can't see Matthew wanting it on his bed, to be honest. Oops. As you can tell, I haven't woven any ends in yet. I tend to do that when I'm joining them together because it just means that it's more intact. So I've got loads of these. Multitude of colours, some very bright and searing. Not my colours really, but I've been given some of these. This I absolutely adore. Don't ask me what it is, I can't remember, but I absolutely adore it. Lovely colours. So I'm getting on with those. Grey one. Tell you, there's so many. Actually, I've got different sizes in here as well, some a bit bigger, which means that I'm going to have to do another blanket. I've just discovered the remainder of this yarn from this shawl here, so I've got that. That may make something else, I think. Oh, it's so soft, so soft. Right, now all these squares are being kept in this bag, and can I remember who made it? No, I can't. Which is really, really bad. Really, really bad. And there's no label on it. So if this is yours, please, please, please let me know, because I'd like to attribute you to the bag. So that's that one. Square to blanket, Christmas Advent socks. I've shown you the ones that I've finished. So let's move on and talk about things that I actually have here at the moment. There's been quite a rage recently in buying these small circulars. I don't know how small you can see that they are. Really tiny. They just about do the job. They're a bit difficult to master and they are slightly sharp, but I do like them. I am knitting another sock. This one's for Phil, and it's in one of these mini skeins I told you about. Yep. So that's coming along very, very slowly. I've just started, you can't see really because of the thing, I've just started the heel flap. That's the heel flap there. I'm trying to keep it all on the one needle really. So that's that one in progress, I've told you about that. The next one is George's jumper number 2. Again, same pattern, bigger size. And I've got this far so far. I ought to put a marker on after the show really, and then I'll know exactly where I've got to be able to tell you. This is the back. I've got, it comes in back, front, 2 sleeves and a collar, and they all end up being sewn on. What I was trying to find, and I don't know if you can help me at all, was a pattern that you knit top down all in one. I know I've knitted one like it before, and pretty much the same style, but I can't find the pattern. So if you have any suggestions at all, I would really, really be grateful about hearing about those. The other things I've got to finish, the PT8275, my jumper that I was making. At this rate, with the way the sunshine's looking today, actually I may have left it too late for this year, and it may be that I'll knit on it now and wear it in the autumn. I deliberately haven't picked it up at the moment because the whole thing with winter camp is that you don't actually carry on unfinished objects, you start new ones. And yeah, that one's part way through and I need to pick up where I left off. Bit of laziness because I've got to actually work out where it was I finished, but I will get there in the end. I'm still trying to make that bedspread that I was making, that I started several years ago now, and that is on my to-do list for this year that I need to get finished. And the other one that I want to get finished is the jumper that I started making for Matt, which is actually more of a hoodie. But I ran into a little problem in that I found that I had got, what do I call them, woodworm, moths. And they'd started eating some of this yarn. Now, I didn't realise I had moths, and I think it was probably because I was keeping it in one of those hemp-like bags, you know, the sort of Save the Planet type bags as I call them. Yeah, so it's been in timeout in the freezer. Because I had read that the way to cure these creatures altogether was to freeze it, thaw it, freeze it again so you kill the different life cycles of the larvae. So now I've got to get back to that before it gets eaten again. Fortunately for me, it didn't eat the actual jumper, just some of the yarn that was, you know, the skein that was about to go on. So hopefully I'll be able to cut a bit out and start again, rejoin. So that's another one that I'm wanting to start. I've talked about the design. Spinning. Recently I have taught another lady to spin, and hi to Susan, if you're getting on okay, I'm really glad. Give me a ring if you're not. And I've really enjoyed that. It was the first day of my redundancy that I taught her, so that helped a lot. It was, and always is, great fun. I do enjoy spinning, and I love teaching people to spin as well. Just the basics. I don't teach anything complicated because I don't think I've got enough knowledge to do that yet. But it's made me think, gosh, there are a lot of trains today. Would you like some tutorials? Would you like to learn to spin on YouTube? If I actually did some, what do you think? Would you be interested in that? Can you let me know, please, by putting something in the comments box below, and or even going onto the Ravelry discussion group, that's the Knatters Knits group on Ravelry, and let me know what you think. I'll open a thread up, and let me know what sort of tutorials you'd like, whether it be spinning, knitting. That's about it really, because I can't do crochet, and well, I can, but only basic. In fact, I know somebody who could do the crochet ones for me. Kate, if you're watching, it's you I'm talking about. I think it would be quite a good thing. What do you think? So I've done that. Now, the next thing I need to tell you is about where I'm going to be. In April, on the 8th, there is an event called Spring into Wool. It's a new festival of woolly crafts, and that's how it's entitled, Spring into Wool Festival because Woolly Crafts. It's on Saturday the 8th of April 2017, and it's at the Grammar School at Leeds in Harrogate Road, LS17. If you want to know more about it, then go to www.springintowool.co.uk. The reason I'm mentioning it now and not just before is I've got 4 tickets to give away, 2 pairs. So, if you are interested in having one of these, then please let me know. And how you can let me know is by going on to Ravelry, and sorry for those of you who don't do Ravelry, why? Join up. It's free. It's such a good place, lovely community. There's so much information there. There's more than you could probably ever handle, I would imagine. It's got a wonderful pattern database. But anyway, the Knatters Knits group there, I have put up a question, and what I would like to know is the sort of knitting that you've been doing, particularly for spring. I think that was the question. But if it's not, go and answer the question and let me know, and I will draw fairly shortly for that one, because obviously I've got to get these tickets out to you. And what I would also like to do is to put onto the back of these a coupon code for the winners of the tickets to get 10% off at my stall on the day. So that's that one. Spring into Wool, 8th of April 2017. Now, for those of you that don't get to go, and especially for those of you who are international, I think it might be quite nice if I let you have the next bit of news. I'm going to talk about a few acquisitions and a book I've got, but I'll tell you about that in a minute, because as we're talking about buying things, I thought I might let you know that I've decided to reopen my Etsy shop. I am, after all, unemployed, and I have got all these woolly items and yarn that I'm spinning and everything else just sitting there, and it seems such a shame. So I'm going to reopen it in April, which will give me a little bit of time to load up the pictures, make things live, and just keep watching the podcast, because I will give you a coupon code to get some money off when my Etsy shop relaunches. So that's that one. Right, goodies. Let's, because it's here first, talk about the first thing I've got, which is a book of modern mini knits. And this is by Sarah Hatton. of Rowan fame and all sorts of other things fame, because she's a brilliant designer. And this is a collection of 12 designs for boys and girls. I bought this one direct from Sarah's website. And if you want to look her up, she's Hatton Knits, HATTONKNITS on Instagram. And oh, I mean, look at this. Isn't that adorable? Or that one. Little old man cardigan. I absolutely love it. Yes, I think George might be getting this one, but don't hold your breath, Rachel, because you know what my deadlines are like. I also like this one, which is called Ellis. And because I'm very much into boys, and these are, although they're girly colours too, this collection here. Some really lovely things in this book. Some lovely little girls things. That, are they sweet? And there's a blanket. I mean, how gorgeous is that? Can you see that one? I love the pictures. I love that they're uncomplicated. I love some of these designs. Look at that hoodie. They're simple, but at the same time they're not simple, if you know what I mean. A lot of these are in DK, which is great because it means that they grow quite quickly. And because Sarah has got an affiliation with Rowan, she puts colour swatches and things of all the different Rowan yarns there, which is nice. But I think I'm probably going to be using my own hand spun. So that's Modern Mini Knits by Sarah Hatton. I can't remember how much I paid for it now, but it is a lovely book, and that's what it looks like. So that's that one. And then Crinkle, Crinkle, Crinkle. I joined a yarn club a little while ago and forgot all about it because I wanted to have some British yarns. It's from a company called Triskelion Yarn, and I think it must have been British breeds, because look at this. Look at this. Look at the colour there. It's called Roses, the colourway, and this is 100 grams of British South Down. Not a breed I've spun myself. It's not superwash, so it won't be something I'm going to use for George. I'm thinking about making myself some mittens with it, I think. Although having said that, I'm not sure. I've just ordered some more yarn last night from Northern Yarn, which hopefully I'll show next time. And I'm trying to think whether I would combine the two. This is a very springy yarn, but it's not overly soft and it's not going to be very drapey, so I think it might be quite good for mittens. It's going to be quite a sturdy yarn. It's warm hand wash only, and there's 165 meters here, so I'm going to have to look out for a pattern for that one. Whether I actually just use it as an accent colour and make white mittens with Rose's colourway as a pattern, I'm not sure yet, or whether I do it this way with the white, again I'm not sure. So that's that one. Another one I don't remember buying, but obviously must have done because, sorry for the crinkling, here they are these. Again, as you can tell, very bright, my colours. This one's a bit speckly and splotchy, which I hadn't noticed at first, but now I'm in the brighter light. Very variegated. And this one. These are extremely soft. They are on her, this is onetwistedtree.com. Let me show you the card. And it is the Lavish base, which is 100% superwash merino, so that will be quite good for George, I think. Not the pink, but the green. There's about 271 yards, and it's a sport to DK weight. It's 8 ply. This one's called Rare Woman Claire, and this one is called Loaf Potion Update 9.2. Beautifully bouncy, lovely, and I don't know if you can see that squishy. I do like those. Now, sometimes when I'm buying yarn, I do it of an evening because I'm bored and something catches my eye on Instagram. Yes, I'm one of those people who's a dead sucker for an Instagram buy. And I must have been on something of the same planet, because look at this. This one is Madeleine Tosh, but it's in their hand-dyed yarn range, and as you can see, it's quite variegated. Can you see all the different colours there? The greens. So I've got pink glitter on there. Take that off. It's olives and things. This is a DK weight again. It's 100% merino, and this is called Warm Denim. Now, to me, it doesn't look denim. It's much more greeny than denim, but I think that faded look, because there are the different shades in there, is what they were going for. It's Tosh Merino DK. There are 225 yards on here. And it's 30, oh, so it's just a hand wash. And it reckons to alternate skeins. Well, I only bought one of these, but it does go rather well with that one. However, this is a single ply, and this isn't. So I'm not so sure about combining something that is going to pill with something that isn't, or maybe I just might alternate. So that's the first Madeleine Tosh. However, I don't think do things by halves. Look at this one. This colour I love. Different to this, as you can see, and it's a bit more blue, this one, on the camera. It's a bit more turquoisey than that. That's about there, I think. And again, Madeleine Tosh hand-dyed yarns. This is called Plunge, because it's very watery, I suppose, in its colour, and I have 2 of these. So I'd like some suggestions, please, because I've got into a rut. I tend to make the same things for George. I'm wondering about doing a shawl. I don't know whether any of these go together, but I've got 5 skeins of yarn, which could make a humongous shawl, or I could make even a jumper, couldn't I? Maybe with pink sleeves, and I don't know. What do you think? I've got to stop buying a stash. Yes. Right, like that's going to happen? Really? Yeah, okay. So that's that one. My other acquisition came in this bag. Now, normally larger companies you don't associate with packaging like this, but this is the Wool Warehouse. And because I was buying the other that I was going to try out, because it's going to be in a knitting magazine fairly soon, I thought I would get a range of colours in the head over heels range, the Starcraft range. Now this is superwash. Excuse me. All the dust. Excuse me. So this one I got. Now this is shade 3100 and it's called Matterhorn. It's a rainbowy colour, so I know that Caroline from the Colourful Creativity podcast would probably like this one. She does like her rainbows. This to me says quite happily socks, I think. But with 100 grams, it's going to be rather a lot of sock there. I suppose I could make long ones, but I don't normally knit long ones. And then the other one is this one, which is much more muted and, dare I say, masculine, but I really like it. Because you've got purples, you've got olives, you've got denim-y blues, you've got the very bright green that you can see in there. All sorts of colours. Yeah. And this one is called Everest. So they're all named after great big mountains. Matterhorn, Everest, and I can't remember what the other one was called now. But that's them. So that's all the things that, well, it isn't all the things I've been buying, but it's all the things I could remember and bring down. What else have I got to tell you? Nothing. I've got to the end of my list. I don't know if this is a longer podcast than usual. I hope you've enjoyed it. There are a few things to show you. I will put some photographs of George at the end. Don't forget to go to my Ravelry group and sign up for the giveaway for those tickets. And I think I'm going to leave it there. Rather than witter on anymore, I'm going to leave it there. But if there's anything else you'd like to see, any questions you've got for me, put them in the thread in Ravelry and the Knatters Knits group. Leave a comment below on YouTube if you don't belong to Ravelry, although I can't understand why you wouldn't. And I shall love you and leave you because it's now, gosh, nearly lunchtime and my tummy's rumbling. So I'm going to leave you now. I shall see you soon. Thanks for taking the time to watch. Bye.